Victoria, I hope you had an easy time getting here from my Word document. The storybook I've chosen today, as seen at the beginning, is How the Raven Stole the Sun. Now, this is part of an Indigenous storytelling series called Raven Tales. Because Indigenous teaching is becoming more relevant within the school system, I thought it was appropriate to choose this book, and it was also one of my favorite books growing up. The individual I've chosen for this assignment is in grade 3, and he has a learning disability. The way I set this visual up is by focusing on the main points in the book, and the reason why I've done that is this individual has a hard time remembering what happens in stories and has weak comprehension skills when it comes to reading. So I've broke it down to 4 key points in this story. The first key point and the first visual represents the Raven's plan. So he had the plan to become a pine needle that would float in the river, and the chief's daughter would drink the pine needle, which would cause her to become pregnant with the raven in her stomach, and she would then give birth to him and would have access to the inside of the log house where all the light boxes were kept. So what I've done is I've made my river, and it's kind of like it's a sensory tool. So I have clear Elmer's glue, blue beads, and it's really calming, and it's cold and it's smooth as it's described in the book. I've also have real pine needles. This came from my own medicine pouch. This makes noise and you can feel it, and it smells like pine. And I've also added a pine tree, some flowers, my little bugs down here. You can also feel them because they're hole punched. This is my second visual. The second crucial key point to this story. This is the first box that the raven gets access to and opens, and it releases the stars. So this one is actually interactive. So the student, because it is a box, you can go in the box and you can pull out a star. The star is also a sensory tool. It's rigid, and you can feel it. And there's also multiple stars in there. Just to grasp the idea, this is my third visual. This is the third key part to the story. So this is the last box that the raven opens, and this box has the sun inside. So, because this is like the other one, it's a box, you can open it, and the sun comes out. I've made this stimulant, so there's pipe cleaner and it shimmers and you can feel it, and then it can go back inside, so we can reuse this book many times. This is a key part of the story because this is the last thing that gets sent up, and then once the sun's in the sky, the whole village has light and can see, because before it was very dark. This is my last visual. This is the last key part of the story. This is the raven after he's released the sun, moon, and stars into the sky, and I really emphasized the feathers here because at the end of the book it explains that the raven now is all black because he flew too close to the sun, bringing it back up into the sky. Because the raven used to be completely white, but this is why the raven is completely black now when we see ravens. This is also a stimulant again. I've added feathers so you can feel it. You can feel the stars. I've also added like a eyeball and the sun and the moon. My adapted book was fairly easy to make, so I believe these cardboard pieces that I used came from my recycling bin. I believe it's the inside of a shoebox. A lot of these resources that I have in here are from our arts and crafts bin. If I didn't have that, I could have easily found these things at the dollar store. Not only was it cost efficient, it was also time efficient. I think I made this in under 2 hours or an hour and a half. It was more of my time was spent actually finding an individual and then choosing or figuring out what's best to help them learn. That's where most of my time went, but making this was very time efficient. This assignment was really fun to make. I'm very excited to use these in the field. I think it's going to be really helpful. I know I would have appreciated having one of these when I was in elementary school. Yeah, thank you for this semester, Victoria. I hope you enjoyed.